5:32. The meeting and first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval and amendment of meeting agenda items.
I move to approve the meeting agenda items for November 10th, 2021 regular board meeting as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the meeting agenda items for November 10th, 2021 regular board meeting as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Did I hear Corey there?
She just texted me. She's
I'm
on.
here.
All right, welcome Corey. Okay, approval of minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of October 13th, 2021 as presented.
Second.
It's
Second.
been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of October 13th, 2021 as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Good news.
Good news, we have a couple good things. Met with the Oregon Department of Ed today, and they have selected Lakeview pending final authorization by the governor to use this as part of as the wellness, one of the 3 districts that will be selected in the state of Oregon as one of the wellness, pilots programs for staff and student wellness, and they will pay employees to come and live here and take care of us. So that's really good. So I'm pretty excited. So they're going to do one for the large cities, one for rural, and then one for the frontier. We're going to be the frontier district. So more to come on that as we get things going. I also want to take the time to remind everyone tomorrow is Veterans Day, and we have 6 veterans in our staff. So if you could all join me in a quick clap for all of our veterans who served our country, we thank them very much. We wish we could do more for them right now, but we just want to recognize that we have 6 veterans in our staff and people who are currently serving as well. So that's really wonderful, and we thank them. I want to mention that I put the SIA changes in there. The SIA change is going to be a consent agenda, but I just wanted to talk about community narratives. I want to say that our equity lens narrative is working fine. Our SIA deadlines, we changed some things. The biggest changes are that we SRO now is not part of the SIA because we have a grant for that. And we're going to outside facilities to make sure everything's more secure. We're also hiring mental health specialists and our career educator, career counselor, I always get it wrong. Youth employment counselor, I apologize. So I'm trying to get through it quickly. So that's what I wanted to mention. And then also I met today with a whole group of superintendents from small school districts today, and everyone's having a difficult time and a lot of boards are having a hard time. I just want to personally thank the school board for being sane and following the rules. So thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's move on to Superintendent Report.
That's pretty much, I did them both together.
You did them both together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, any public comment?
So I think we need to you wanted to mention the weapon policy discussion before you opened up to the new policy batch.
Okay, great, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I do that?
Yes.
Okay, I did, the board gave me homework and I apologize, I want to turn it in. My dog did not eat it or there was no horse issue, so that's why I mentioned that for a couple of my board members. But that being stated, I did go meet with Sheriff Taylor, we had a great talk, and we have a good plan for the board, and it's his feelings that if the courthouse has to be gun-free, even with those who have the right, to carry a gun, conceal weapons, then schools by all means should even have more security. So he does not believe that we should allow individuals on campus unless they're in official law enforcement capacity. Even if they have a license to have a concealed weapon, they should not be on campus. So that's the way the policy reflects.
On campus with a weapon.
Yeah, on campus with a weapon. So on campus with a weapon, yes, very clear. So that's property and buildings. That way, when that happens, if the board approves that policy tonight, then we already have signs ordered and they'll be up. And once we put the signs up, then we will and let the community know that all the school district property and buildings are weapon free, unless it's law enforcement. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gerber. I'm sorry I missed that.
Yep. Okay. Any questions on that? Hearing none, we'll go to reports. First one up is building principals report.
So hold tight, I know that there's something, is there something missing on yours, Bear?
Oh, policy update.
Yeah, we need to do that, which is this, and then you can mention the SIA in more detail, and then,
Boy, I went to the superintendent report to say.
well, yeah, but,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
All right, backing up to the superintendent portion of this, we're gonna now go through OSBA policy update, batch 2.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong agenda. I apologize. I want to put this one away. So I'm going to the one that we need to reuse. So on the policy briefings, the policy I just mentioned to you was JHFE GBNAB. So that was the one on the guns. And the one I want to talk about, we go all the way through here. I covered everything on here. Spells out limited requirements. A lot of the policies just had language in there talking about gender identity. And there's a lot of things on there for equity. There were no major changes. There was a couple though. You'll notice there were 4, and I wanted to make sure I hit that with the board. They a lot of times OSBA wanted to take out the part about appeal to the school board, and I left those in. I believe that in a democracy, people should have the right to have recourse. So after the superintendent, if they feel that he or she did not do a good job, they should have the right to go in front of their elected officials. So on those 4 policies, you'll see we put back the board. So unless the board directs me otherwise, I always like to give people an opportunity to be heard. So that's what I did there. Graduation requirement was one of the things, shall, on the modified diploma. That was a big thing I wanted to make sure I hit. I talked about KGBB already again, about the firearms. And then last one, what I wanted to talk about was the graduation exercises. That's been a very big thing in some communities where we allow people to wear their tribal uniforms and all the military stuff like that. We feel at this time it does not reflect the values of our community. We want everyone to be in the same robes when they graduate. So those are the ones I thought would be the most important for you, that I think would bring some consternation to the board that I wanted to bring to your attention. Any questions about my summary sheets to help you out?
This is batch 2.
This is batch 2. Batch 1 that we had in our last meeting, you'll see that in consent agenda.
Right.
This one was just the first reading.
This is
for
the
you
first
guys.
reading, so again, tomorrow, next time, if you want to change something, you come back, let us know.
Yep, so
But I just
December
wanted to
8th.
make sure that everyone was aware of it, so that way the board can take time to see it. One thing that was asked about, you'll see the OSBA, the big delete sign across there, that's not from us, that's from OSBA. When they put that delete sign in there, that they just say we shouldn't have that policy anymore. So that we still leave it there, so that way the board knows, well, where's that policy? It's gone.
Yep. And then another thing that Mr. Havel called and asked me about when he was reviewing the board book is when you see a policy that has strikeouts or the entire thing is struck out but does not say delete diagonally down it, that's because Mr. Carter chose that that policy doesn't apply to our school district, oftentimes like charter policies and what have you. And so we'll just strike the whole thing out so I can ship it to OSBA and there's no confusion.
And then they will upgrade our policies once the board approves them. You'll get the first batch approved tonight if you do that, and then this will be next month. So you'll have time to look it all over. And again, if you have any questions about these, let us know. But again, most of it was really around verbiage, and that's what I put it down limited. And most of it was about the identified gender identity. That was a very big important buzzword through all the policies.
Okay, does the board have any questions right now for Mr. Carter?
Great, thank you all very much.
All right, you've given the SIA update.
Yes, it did. And I want to thank Elena. She did a great job.
She
helping
was
us out.
on here a minute ago, but she clicked off,
Okay,
so.
good. Well,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, once again, we'll go ahead and ask for public comment. Hearing none. Reports, building principals report. Who'd like to go?
Good evening. I would like to have Mr. Count give the elementary board report tonight, if that's okay with the board.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good evening. Now that we've settled into the fall, we wanted to give you an update on enrollment numbers. So Fremont and Hay enrollment is 329 and the average class size is 19. Union enrollment is at 46 with an average class size of about 15. And we feel pretty good about our class sizes because this is well below the state average in Oregon, which is 23. We completed our fall parent-teacher conferences. Attendance was down a little bit. The average attendance per classroom was 86%. In years past, that's been in the 90s, 92 to 94%. We had our first PBIS assembly in October to recognize perfect attendance, accelerated reader champions, character traits, and we're formulating a plan for a new school-wide positive behavior challenge. So hopefully more information will come soon. Our RTI program is in full swing and students are placed in intervention groups based on their ECCDM test data. We're progress monitoring every Wednesday to assess the effectiveness of those interventions. Yesterday, our sixth grade class, or our second grade class at Fremont and all of Union School were able to attend a field trip. And they went to the Ross Raglan to see the Hillbilly Science Spectacular Show, which was enjoyed by everyone. Discipline is up right now, and we're making a lot of phone calls home to parents to engage them in this disciplinary process. Our disciplinary referral process has been streamlined using Google Forms to allow for easier record keeping and better communication. We've had several very high-need students that we're working very hard with, often in a one-on-one basis to meet their educational needs. And we're consistently balancing meeting student academic and behavioral needs with student safety and overall classroom function as an umbrella. Our staff have turned in their annual goals, and we're working with Janice Heigl to continue to grow staff member proficiency with best practices in mathematics. And she will be here later this month. We're trying to be mindful of teachers' time, but continue to help them grow professionally. We conducted our first round of safety drills, and we're continuing to refine our safety procedures in crisis management situations. Our teachers had some crisis training today, and we introduced a new student accountability system using a red-green card. And last, we have several job openings that are still open, we've not filled, and we're continuing to look for both certified and classified staff, as well as substitutes. And having open positions has created some challenges where we haven't been able to provide all of the supplemental services that we would like to. So we hope to hire more staff soon if we get applicants. A couple upcoming dates on the calendar. December 16th, we have our Union Holiday Program. December 17th, we have our Fremont Hay Holiday Program. And we look forward to those things happening. Thank you. Any questions?
On the discipline piece, are you guys still have in place the spacing when they go to lunch, where they stand, or have you eliminated that for this year?
No, we're still using the spacing. We try to distance as much as possible, especially in that cafeteria where we're unable to have them have masks. So we try to keep them distanced as much as possible.
So your discipline issues are not related to touching?
Not related to COVID or any of that kind of stuff. Just good old kid behavior.
Ah, gotcha. We can take that. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Nice job, by the way. That's his first one, yeah.
Okay, Hillary?
Hello. So we've been doing a ton of great things at our school, and I apologize that I wasn't able to attend the last board meeting because we were super busy with homecoming week and it was a lot of fun. So this last week we had our first try of student-led conferences, and we had a good turnout at conferences this year, but I wasn't totally satisfied with where it ended up, and it was our first try. So we had a debriefing session today at our staff meeting, and we have some great ideas to continue to improve our conference format so that we can get more students and families to come, and to have students taking ownership of their own education and learning. I think the change in dates and times was a huge move for our success in getting families here, and I really appreciate the consideration of this change. We had about 225 students and families attend. We have awards banquets this week. We had a volleyball banquet on Monday. We had cross country last night, and then tonight we have our FFA banquet from 6 to 8. And we had a quarterly assembly yesterday, which was my first experience with a quarterly assembly, and it was a lot of fun because I got to reward students for perfect attendance and give out Student of the Month as well as Honor Roll awards. And we had a ton of them. I just kept reading name after name after name, and so it was really fun to see that. I also sang the national anthem, the first time singing at one of our assemblies, and that was fun. We watched a slideshow of events from our first quarter, and it was really fun to reflect on all of the cool things that we were able to do this year that we didn't get to do last year. For example, having all of our sports teams, our homecoming dress-up days, the parade, the dance, and all of those things coming back this year. And then another thing I wanted to mention is at the beginning of every staff meeting, we've been giving out staff awards for cooperation, commitment, and courage, which are our 3 C's to success this year that we kind of decided on at the beginning of the year. And staff members are being recognized and awarded with coffee cards and just public recognition of how good they're doing and all the great things they're doing for our kids. And we also talk about ways that we have moved the bus stop for students, and there's kind of a story behind that I shared a while back, but pretty much it means eliminating barriers for students so that they can be more successful in the classroom. And we're just doing a lot of recognition of each other for going above and beyond for our kids. So that was my report.
Okay.
Any questions?
Scott?
Hey, Hillary, this is Scott. I was just kind of wondering, you said something about in student-led, I guess, conferences. What kind of format is that, really?
So
I've never heard of it, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, what we did this time around was we had each student prepare a slideshow, and the slideshow went over their grades, their attendance, and they collected artifacts or samples of work from each of their classes. So they were able to lead the discussion when their parents came in. The teacher was there to kind of facilitate, but the students got to take that ownership of their own grades, their own attendance. They had to tell their parents, like, hey, I'm passing these classes, I'm failing these classes, this is why, here's my attendance. And then they got to show them exactly what they were working on in each of their classes. So for example, in English, we did this essay, this is the score I got on it. And so the kids were able to do that for their parents with the teacher there to kind of support.
Okay.
And then after they did that piece, they were able to go meet with other teachers. But it started with the student leading the conversation and then progressing from there.
That sounds interesting. Like I said, never heard of that
You don't see
before.
the same picture.
Yeah, and it was our first try, so we're always looking to make improvements and make it even better for next time.
Cool, thanks.
Okay. And then, go ahead.
I also have Mr. Rose's report if you guys would like to hear that.
I was curious how that was going to happen, so go ahead.
Okay, so for Lakeview Academy, Mrs. Harris, Mrs. Holzman, and Mr. Rose are making phone calls. We're doing Google Meets and some in-person discussions for conferences. We have 3 on track to graduate early right now. And our full-time staff member is out right now for Lakeview Academy, so we've hired a long-term substitute, Renee Baker. Mrs. Baker is doing grading, opening assignments, making student-parent contact, and setting up in-person work time in the Learning Center. For his responsibilities as vice principal, he said, Mrs. Holston led a great staff meeting today with multiple recognitions of the wonderful things our staff have been doing. Many staff spoke up to share how their colleagues were doing amazing things in the classrooms and on campus. Our library manager and athletic assistant, Cody Blair, presented on our tardy policy and led a discussion on ways to improve student punctuality as well as the process for tracking those tardies. And then for athletic director, he said OSAA is in the process of redistricting and reclassifying schools, which is done every 4 years. LSAA looks at 3-year attendance averages and calculates ADMs with the percentage of the free and reduced lunch students subtracted from the overall enrollment. It helps balance the ebb and flow of school enrollment and places schools in leagues where they are comparable sized schools. We've actually been at 3A numbers for the past 4 years, but have been able to petition to play down at the 2A level. However, our numbers are growing. Desiring to play at the 2A level next year would not leave us with any competition in Southern Oregon. The Southern Cascade League has been dissolved with Glide, Rogue River, and Illinois Valley moving to the Far West League, as well as with us. The next closest 2A groups are Hefner, Grant Union, Enterprise, or Waldport, Toledo, Reedport leagues. A move to 2A would mean traveling even farther for our students. The ADs of the proposed Far West League have already met to discuss options for travel and scheduling. Not too long ago, Lakeview was participating with some of these same 3A schools. The Medford schools plus Rogue River and Illinois Valley really are the closest schools of comparable size to us. As with any change, it will be a challenge at first, but our student athletes have been successful before at the 3A level, and even in the same league as some Klamath schools, so we can definitely be successful again. I encourage anyone to share their thoughts or concerns with OSAA by writing an OSAA executive director or by emailing me so I can then forward it on. I will also briefly discuss this topic at next week's Winter Sports Student Parent Meeting on Thursday. That's it.
Do we know when decision day is on that?
Not yet. I know that they're working on it. So I'm gonna tell the public right now, please write letters and give your opinion, because it does help. Because otherwise they think that it's sour grapes. And we're not arguing sour grapes. Mr. Rose laid out the issue. The key for us though is we want to get the best thing and opportunity for our kids to be successful. I'm not trying to be selfish, but travel is huge for us. We want to make sure our kids are gonna be able to be competitive, but also have the ability to be in a fair and fair setting.
So in looking at that information, IV and Rogue River are going up to 3A also?
That's the proposal right now, yes, ma'am. And a couple of them are fighting it.
Okay.
And I also know that Glide and them are happy with theirs because the way it works for them, for their for volleyball. And
Travel's good.
Yeah, travel's good for them. So we're outnumbered right now. So any community letters, send them to me, send them to Mr. Rose, and we'll get them to OSBA. We're going to put this. He's going to get on the radio next week. Mr. Rose is. He's also going to, put the link on the website so people can send those letters directly.
Sorry, I've talked to OSAA. December 11th is when they're going to make
There
the
you go.
decision.
December 11th.
So quick.
Anything else, Ms. Holzman?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move into Student Services Director Lonnie Chavez.
She's not going to be here tonight to present, so. Oh, she is here. She made it.
I'm right here.
Okay, super. She was out today. I
I see the
apologize.
big L there, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I was in. Well, good evening, and things have been very busy for special education teachers the last weeks and the next few weeks. The teachers are working really hard on getting all their IEPs completed and in for the December 1 count. The December 1 count, it's unduplicated students, ages 5 to 21 that have a disability and that are receiving special education services or related services. And so what that does is the data is important to us as a district because it's where we receive special education revenue. So the state reports to the federal government, and then that's how we get the revenues and the percentage of our special ed students. Special services can be our speech services, our transition services, autism, occupational therapy, physical therapy, but the students also need to be on an IEP with special education services. The other program is the backpack program that we've been working on, and we've been providing food for the weekend to at least 150 students over the weekends. We found a little bit of it's been a little rough with the supply chain the way it is, getting food in, but the committee's done a great job on that, and John Shine and our vendor from the hospital have been doing a great job helping out. We have had a lot of long weekends in November, and so that is coming to an end, and we'll just have 2-day weekends, and so things will get better. And then in end of December, early January, the district will revisit that and kind of look at what we can do, maybe make some changes. And I'm really excited to have Kwang Gerber, the youth employment counselor, involved in helping with this program because he's been a great asset. And I know he's got his other job he's doing right now, but it's really been helping out. So I want to thank him. I think that's all for tonight. Do you guys have any questions?
Don't.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, next one up then is old business. We have old business.
Janet.
Do we have Janet?
Yeah,
We have old business, Janet?
I'm kind of old business sometimes, yeah. First, let me do a financial report and then we can get to some old business, if that's all right.
Yep.
Barry's trying to push this along.
Yes, he is.
I say that, I'll be flat, leave that in. How about that?
No.
I'm just kidding. Okay, quick your revenues projected, we were at 22%, we've actually collected 24% as of September 30th. So keep that in mind, this is as of September 30th. Projected on sources is about 7%, right in line, and then of course our state sources was about 32%, which is our state school fund. Month to date overall revenues, we're at 685,000. We were 8,400 in the month to date. Year to date revenues were about 4 million, a little over, which is 23% annual budget compared to last year at 21%. So we're actually favorable right at this moment, year to date 30th, by about 91,000. Moving into expenditures. Moving into the expenditures, we anticipated about 13% overall, and we actually spent 14%. So where that's at is in our salaries and benefits at 13%, where we projected a specific 11% or almost 12%, and then all of our other objects are dead on at 14%. Month to date expenditures are 581,000, which is under our plan by about 152,000. So that's favorable. That's good. One less. And then our year-to-date expenditures is at 1.6 million, 14% of our annual budget. And so we're a little bit up about 90, gonna have a wash there with what we gained in our expenditures. Any questions on that? If you look at the back page, you're looking at your fund balances. I've adjusted it a couple of different times and I'm not done auditing, and I feel like we're gonna have some more. So I still don't want anybody to panic about that June number yet, because we're not there yet, and we're working towards that, but we are significantly less September 30th than we were
Your favorite bird, Janet.
friggin' bird. Any questions?
So I will mention to the board and everything that we do have the state forecast will be out Monday. I'm on that budget committee for the state, and I can tell you the state's doing fine. Revenue's good.
Hey, Janet, it's Scott. I was wondering, the last time I was in there, we talked about getting that fire money. Did we get that from the bootleg and Patton and all those that we had? For the Cougar Peak Fire?
So that's been a little bit of a challenge for me this week. We did receive 4,900 September, the end of September. I looked over to see if they had, they just automatically deposit without any forewarning or anything like that. So I called around and I finally got a hold of Rhonda Bickerman, and she is on it for me. She snoop trooped the 4,900 as a portion, but it's not the full meal deal according, because bootleg should be a pretty good chunk.
20,000 plus.
If the dates I have are correct. And so Rhonda Bickerman was working on that. She was out of the office again today, but I do know that I talked to Mike Graham, went to the hardware store and asked him about making sure that that was okay, and he said that Rhonda was actually looking into that and making sure that we were going to get paid. So we're hustling.
Thanks, I just wondered.
Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
Thank you, Janet. Now we'll move on to old business.
So the union painting, which Mr. Carter kept you guys abreast of this formality. This bill is actually $47,156.14. We were good when we started with the painting as far as it was a total of $17,000. We did a down payment of $2,600, and then so what we owe to switch back is $15,000. And then the disciplinary work that had to be done that we subcontracted, and Mr. Carter gave you all of those details at $29,000. So that put us over a little bit on our threshold, and so we just need a formal that we're okay to pay this bill at $700.
Okay.
I
Well,
move to
certainly,
accept the contract with Switchback Painting and approve the bill as presented.
I second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the contract with Switchback Painting and approve the bill as presented. Any further discussion? We'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you, board.
Any new business?
No.
No new business. Consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Let's see. Announcements.
No. The announcements, we just wanted to talk about, Ms. Chavez is leaving us after 20 years dedicated service, so we are going to acknowledge her formally at the next board meeting and also at our district holiday party on December 10th, so I'm hoping you're able to make that, so put that on your calendars. But she's been great. We're going to miss her and her services, but due to personal reasons, and it's time for her, she wants to retire. So I tried to hold her back, but we want to thank her publicly, so thank you. And I also want to say there's a playoff game Friday at 7. So can't let that go.
Tickets bought online.
Yeah, tickets online. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
Well, congratulations, Lonnie, and we'll be having more congrats next meeting.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Next board meeting agenda items.
We have a few, so I think we'll have them for you later.
More policy.
More policy, and also by that time we'll know more about what other grants and opportunities we're going to have, and then I'll also give you an update. I met with the ESD, and we're working to get our partnership a little stronger, and so we had some concerns, and we were able to voice those today with the superintendent, and he's going to work on seeing if he can address some of the concerns that we had. But I want to make sure the board knew that, and that Tamlin and I went over and met with them, so it went real well from my perspective that we're able to share our concerns, and I think all the things can be worked out. I also asked about the replacement for the superintendent, and there are 2 applicants, and they're not from local, but they're outside, and I didn't ask them more questions, of course, but hopefully we'll get good pool and get someone to replace following Jack's leadership and get us someone to keep our partnership going.
You happen to know when it closes?
It closes December 15th, I think it is.
Okay. Any other agenda items?
You got it. You got it done, Barry.
We're looking for adjournment.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.